Welcome to the We Are Wide channel. On one half of the team, Jay Schumann. I got my partner Shaq here with me. We're going to discuss a relevant topic that predominantly majority of America goes through, and that's jumpstarting into your career after college. We all have these high aspirations that we want to achieve as we graduate college, but it's predominantly we know we have a hard time inserting into our career after we graduate. So today we're going to discuss our perspective, opinions, perspectives, and our own life experiences to our overall college experiences and how did it relate to our life and our career. But before we get Shaq's opinion, we're going to throw in the word of the day. The word of the day is ameliorate, to make better or become tolerable. So, Shaq, we're going to kick it off to you. Give the audience your overall college experiences. How did it shape you in your life, in your career? Floor is yours, my brother.
Wow. Man, that's a good question, man. That's a good question, man. Wow. I would say for me, um, college has helped me in a sense as well as hurt me tremendously in a sense. Now I break down the two. It helped me because fortunately, um, I was one of those ones who actually got a degree and actually find a job in my field. We always hear about these ones who get bachelors, get masters, get PhDs, but they wind up working at McDonald's and they can't find a job in their field, right? Well, for me, fortunately, like I said, I find a job in my field, right? When I after graduating college, because I have a bachelor's degree, I have a master's degree, and got have a master's degree in healthcare, have a bachelor's degree in healthcare, and actually applied for a job, volunteered for a job while I was in school, and the the supervisor of the job found out that I was finna graduate and offered me a job, so it helped me in a sense. Now it hurt me because I would tell the younger me if I went to college. If I was 18 years old, if I can go back to 18 years old and somebody was to ask me will I go to college, I would tell them no. And the reason that I would tell them no is because if you're not trying to be a doctor or a lawyer, I wouldn't advise nobody to go to college because you're paying all this money, you get a degree, you can't find a job in your field, and then you got to pay back so much student loan, right? Because we are what we are. I mean, I know when I grew up, it was either you work or you go to school. It wasn't a choice in my mother's household. You either got to work or go to school, and she was really big on education. And matter of fact, education is the only way that I didn't even know how to give back to the community. So it was a choice. My mother had many illnesses, so I wanted to really be a heart doctor, but I had to pick something quick, and that's why I just chose something in the healthcare field. I got a bachelor's degree in healthcare administration, and I actually found a job in the field, but it's no advancement in that. I mean, all you're doing is working to become a supervisor one day. If that's what your ultimate goal is, after graduating college, that you done paid so much money for, then it's it's unreal. If you're not trying to be a business owner, a doctor, or a lawyer, do not go to college. Don't waste your time getting a degree in accounting. I mean, if you learn how to count money, common sense, and economics, there's your accounting right there. They got this thing called project management. Oh, I mean, last time I checked, if you can finish a project on the job, there goes your project management. They got this thing called a degree in biology, right? Well, if you're not trying to take that degree and go to med school with it, only thing you're gonna be wind up doing is teaching English, teaching biology, and teaching it, which is no money in the field, so it's still hurting it. And far as my parent concerned, I don't want to do this, right? But it's my mother fault. It's my mother fault because she didn't know. So she only trained me what she know in this. It's a generational curse. She only going based off of what her mother taught her. Her mother's only going based off of what, which is my great grandmother, who was which my great 4-time great grandmother was born into slavery. So you got that transition after generation, education after education after education, but they don't realize that they hurting your child. You hurting your child if you put them in college because it has got me nowhere. I never received the amount that I'm supposed to get paid. But I know if I go to New York City with the type of degree I have, because I'm down south, probably getting me paid what I need to be getting paid, but the cost of living is up here. So you never gonna get it the way I get. That's what I'm saying. You always gonna be hurt. So for me to answer your question, my brother, college have helped me because I found a job in my field. But college has hurt me. It hurt my brothers. It hurt my family. Because at the end of the day, we're telling people to get an education, but we don't know that education is really, really hurtful to the black society.
Surely appreciate your response. And we're going to talk about a little something that you said earlier, but I'm going to give the audience my perspective on my college experiences. So when I look at my college experiences, I kind of identify it as pros and cons. Pros was accountability factor. You know, when you exit high school, when I exited high school and I got into college, the accountability factor was high. The professor hand out a syllabus and expect for you to get everything done at the required date and time. So as I translated that to my life, I knew I had to create a constant mode of excellence in everything that I do because I had to control the controllables. Now the cons was this. Cons was just taking pointless courses, as you mentioned, like biology or Native American courses, certain things of that nature. I felt that college needs to get away from the traditional norm. Like these kids that's going to college now, and even us, people want to be owners. So let's cater courses such as ownership courses, financial literacy. We tapped into our history now. People want to learn about, as you said, about your great grandmother. Learn about our history, where we come from. Those courses need to be implemented into college. Now, a professor, as you said, what it helps us and then hinders us. Now, a professor gave me a great advice. And he told me one time, always take the initiative to take the initiative to go ahead. And that's always stay ahead of the pack. That translates to our life, right? So you might have 2 chapters that you read in school. When you finish those 2 chapters, read the next chapter. That's how you separate yourself from the ordinary. But as you said one time before, a lot of things I had to learn on my own. I was self-taught. So college, it helped, and then it hindered us. But I want to go back to the factor of you saying that you wouldn't advise the kids to go to college. Now, I kind of disagree with that a little bit because college did help me in the standpoint of this, me personally, being able to tap in and lock in when you got an important assignment, whether that's school, life, whatever. Certain people can't lock in, they get distracted. People might, oh, come here, come this place, come this place. But college taught me that. It taught me how to lock in when it's time for a midterm that's coming up, knowing that I got to control and I got to tap in on this particular subject or assignment in order for me to be able to receive the grade that I'm supposed to receive. Whatever you put in, you're going to get out. College taught me that. So I want to get your perspective on that.
I mean, it's kind of hard to say because I see it from both sides. But you brought out a good point. Hold up. I gotta ask you a question. So can we vote before I answer your question? But can you agree with me that it's our parents' fault? It's our parents' fault. Can you agree with me on
I agree with you on that. I do agree with you on that.
that? Okay. All right. So now that you agree with me on that, I'll take it a step further and I say this. You brought up something about financial literacy and things of that nature in college. Yes, I agree with you on that. I think that the whole college system needs to be the whole college policy reform or however they have it needs to be uh, changed. And here's why I say that. As I mentioned before, if you're not trying to be a lawyer, a doctor, or be a business owner, keyword business owner, don't go to college. Here's why. 95% of the people that give us funding already knows that we are coming out of college. And we are coming out of college what? With student loans, right? Only 25% of people really get actually full ride scholarships. The rest of them, like myself, like yourself, we lived it off of student loan. So let me get this straight. The same people who we go to the bank, right? Because in business, only thing you need to be doing is teaching in business, financial literacy, and the number one skill to get a job. We all know that. I know it. You know it. That's how I got the job. Was communication skills. All you need is really communication skill to get a job, and trying and some type of interpersonal skills. That's what I think college should teach when they talk about the business course. Now it may cost them a little more money to teach a financial literacy course. Here's why: because they don't want us to know the actual basis of economics. That's what it is. Let me get this straight. They'll give you a car loan, they give you a house loan, they'll even give you an education, a student loan. But when you walk into a bank and you walk like us and you talk like us, you know where I'm going at, right? And you ask for a business loan, you get denied. So why not teach the business strategy in college? Only 3 programs should be offered in college. Get rid of all these other programs out here because it's doing nothing but hurting people. You're paying so much money out here. You're being $70,000, $80,000 in debt, paying off student loans. And if you die, you leaving your loved ones to pay off your debt. Right. That's work. That's hustling backwards. That's not hustling forwards. Most of these doctors that do their registry, they the only ones that pay their stuff off because they go and work for these little nonprofit organizations. Right? I had a friend, he worked for a nonprofit organization for 10 years and he was putting so much on. They forgave his student loan and he's a doctor. But why they don't do it for other programs? You got people out there like me, I got healthcare administration. I'm still in the healthcare field. I'm not a doctor though. Why I can't get my student loan forgave? But I went through six years. Well, you can put 8 because I got the PhD. But 6 to 8 years worth of information, and all they teach you to do is write papers and cite your work. All they teach you how to do is write paper, cite your work, and take tests well. But if we change our mindset to realize that, hold on, we got to think like these people, right? We cannot teach our youth because they are our generation. Remember, we're going to get 65 one day, as I mentioned in episode 1, right? We're going to get 65 one day. So the same individuals, I wouldn't tell these kids, I wouldn't hurt these kids. My mother hurt me. Yeah, she did. I had to throw her under the bus because she didn't know. It's a generation curse out here. Generation curse out here. So that's my take on it, brother. I mean, we hurting out here and they gotta change.
Okay, I agree with you. I agree with your earlier statement you said as far as your mom hurt you, right? But then at the same time, you gotta look at the culture, what we was brought up on, right? When we was in school, they told you get good grades, and then if you get good grades, you'll be able to go to a great college, right? So if it's stuck in your mind from what you went pre-K 4 years old to 18, that's all you know. That's all you know. So college, as I said, and I want to ask you this question because I know it with me it did. College didn't teach you to be able to lock in because in any aspect, let's just say for example, you got a big project at work. And you got distractions. You might have family over here want you to come to a party event. Your girlfriend wants you to spend time with her. Your partners, your boys saying, hey man, come out here and look at the game with us. Certain people don't have that discipline to be like, well, you know what? That is wants. I got to focus on the controllable. I got to control what's coming up. School taught me that. And I feel that even though certain things in college, it hindered us, it helped us. That helped me as far as locking in. Because when I'm in the zone, nobody can come in the middle of that. Because I know how to be self-disciplined.
So you basically saying that college helped you in the sense of when you had family members, friends, relatives reaching out to you, and you had to take a test or do something to projects, and you put your time in college versus putting your time in other people. College have
No,
helped
I'm
you.
I'm
That's what you're
I'm not
saying.
saying that. I'm saying far as focusing on the level of importance, right? Parties gonna be there. Sports bars gonna be there. If your girl true, she's going to be there. But I gotta focus on this to help because if I focus on this, whether that's doing assignment at work or you starting up your business, everybody gonna benefit from it.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. Do college, do the work that we receive in college, and this is just a rhetorical question, right? There's no right or wrong answer. Do the work that we receive in college, do do they teach us on the job?
Probably about 90% no. I'm gonna be honest. But I wasn't talking about the work. I'm talking about the mindset.
Okay, right. I'm about to get to some. I'm about to get to some. I want you to hear me out on this. So the material that they teach us, you agree that is no, like because ultimately a job gonna train you the way they want to train you, correct?
Correct.
Right? With the degrees or with 1 degree, with 2 degrees, or with 3 degrees, correct?
Correct.
So when you talk about the level of importance, right, and how college taught you about what's important, right? Can you agree? Just 3 things to agree with me on. You are who you hang around, correct? Correct. If you let me ask you a question. If you hang around, I mean, let's
Well, my mother
if
always
you hang around a negative, if you hang around a negative person, if you hang around 10 negative people, is it a very likely chance that you're going to be
yeah,
negative?
that
Correct.
energy can rub off on you. So that's
Okay.
partially correct.
Okay. Number two, right? If you are doing the amount of work on college that they give you, and you just getting a grade for it, right? Do that bring satisfaction to you?
Yes, because I work hard for it.
And you got a good grade, right?
I got a good grade, but it's deeper than that.
That,
Because
and that's what I'm about to get to. That's what I'm about to get to. That's what I'm about to get to. It is deeper than that because you're talking about the level of importance. So if all that is important, right? Do you think that your voice is important? Do you think that your voice is important? Do you think that your voice on do you think that your God given voice, your communication, your effective communicate, your vocals, the stuff that you use every day to get yes and no's, to inform your life, to dictate how your life is? Do you agree that your voice is important?
I believe so, and I'm
So why not advocate? Why not find ways to advocate and to call these funding people who fund the student loans and stuff like that and challenge these individuals and go out here to these high schools, even middle schools. Let's start at middle school so that we can refresh their mind because they already in the 11th grade, they already got their mind made up, right? You got to
not
do
necessarily.
you got to do hold on. You got to just work hard at trying to persuade them because nowadays teenagers are worried about rap. They worrying about this TikTok thing. They worrying about uh 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 uh, um what's the game called?
Well, you got Fortnite, all of those
Yeah,
things.
Fortnite. They got all this Grand Theft Auto, Fortnite. They worrying about that, right? They worrying about all that. So if they are worrying about all of that, right? Look where the mindset is going. We have to use our voice. Why? Because we don't experience college. And if college done hurt me, and I'm pretty sure it hurt you, because you admitted that, even though you said it helped you, Let's walk together and let's get out here in these streets and let's let these parents know because we got to use the parents to get to the kids, right? Can't overstep their boundaries because they are parents, right? Let's show them ways to know that being a doctor, being a lawyer, being a business owner is the way to go. If you want to go to college and be successful. Not out to if you ask them what they major is. Oh yeah, let me throw nursing in there too. Nursing in there too. That's a good. I forgot about that. Nursing, there's some good nurses. Shout out to all my nurses out there. I got to get my follow up next week. But um, nursing, anything in the healthcare field, you always can find a job. But I'm just particularly talking about these unnecessary degrees out here need to be wiped away. And I think that it's hurting people. People out here just struggling. It just ticks me off.
Okay, and I do agree with that. And if you see now, high schools are going that route where you have one particular high school might be catered to nursing. So if you are interested in nursing, you go to that school. If you're interested in criminal justice, you'll go to that school. So I see the change coming up, but they need to put a more of a immediate speed behind it, right? So I want to ask you this question, just to switch gears a little bit. If you had the opportunity, what course or what rule would you want to change to benefit college students? Lord yours.
Kind of repeat the question. I mean, so because I'm kind of confused.
Okay, so you were saying that things that you feel that needs to be changed, right? You said certain degrees should, certain programs should only be implemented into schools, as far as nursing, engineering, being a doctor, those things, right?
Correct.
So, what course or what policy would you change to help benefit college students? So it could be anything.
Okay. Well, first thing I would do, I would, unlike myself, because I only can speak about what I don't live, right? I only can speak about what I know about, and that's the life that I have lived, how I grew up, and how others grew up around me. But what I will first do is go to the community of the poverty community where I grew up. Starting, you can start back home where I'm from, right? Start back home and build your way back up to these communities and get these parents to sign to housing authority, to uh, to the Southern, to SACS, people that credit these college, people that credit these college associations. You get them to sign petitions and you let them know, hey, these are what my kids. You get all kids in uh, the poverty communities to write essays. It don't have to be a large essay. It can be a 250 word essay, right? Explaining the importance of what college means. And I think if they hear their story, right, that's a start. They hear their stories and see where they want to go. Because every black and every poverty kid, right, they just don't want to be the American dream. They have dreams. If you talk to them and sit down, they are very talented at what they do. They just don't have people out there taking the time out to do it. So what policy I would change is I will write a petition. I will also write a petition to the state uh, Department of Education, and I will make them lower college fund. It shouldn't be 5,000 for no one class. It shouldn't be 3,000, 3,500 for no one class. I will break it down in criteria. If this child watch this child between the grade of the junior all the way up until their senior year, right, and see how much their parents are making per household. The IRS do it, the government do it. We are still being controlled, right? See how much they're making. And if they're making under a certain amount a year, then that child will be waived to go to college. They will go to college, but it wouldn't be the full amount of what we paid. Let's say if I took 3 courses at, I'm not even gonna name my school that I went to, but anybody can pick up a telephone and know what school I went to. I'm not gonna do my school like that. But the 3 classes that I took in my college, if I took 3 classes, I'm probably, or you consider full time when you pay 3 classes. I'm probably paying anywhere between 3,600 or 4,200 a quarter, right? That's how much I'm paying. Now, if I was in their shoes, that 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 student shouldn't be paying no more than, because they got the waiver, they shouldn't be paying no more than 1,500 for 3 classes versus the other students. That's how I think we can start. If we do that, that will lower the student debt. We'll have more students actually graduating with a lower student debt ratio so that they can get good housing. Because keep in mind, some students, they get these debt ratios, right? They keep deferring it. They keep deferring it. They keep deferring it. Then when they get out, they look for a job, and then they say, okay, well, because keep in mind that the student loan don't hit them until 6 months after they graduate. That's when they start getting in contact with them. And more likely a chance they don't find a job in 6 months. So then they started putting it on their credit. Now they want to get a house. Someone want to get married. They think they're young. They want to get a house. Now they get denied for date ratio. But that will prevent that if they start to do a waiver and challenge these people that works for the Department of Education. That's why I think they should start at. Presidents of colleges need to stop getting all this money, and they need to step up as well, right? Deans, calling them out too. Y'all need to sign a petition over to these Department of Education. And if more and more people complain and talk about it, the more they'll do about it. But nobody is talking. Nobody is doing nothing about it.
Okay. Well, I want to go back to a comment you made earlier that I agree with, and I feel that the accountability need to be put on the academic advisors, our guidance counselors, if I want to say that, because something that you said, you was like, when kids in high school, they don't know what they want. So, right? So sometimes kids might get in school, get in college, as I might say, get in college, and they're going off of what their parents want them to do, right? And the only time we really talk to our guidance counselors or our academic advisors when it's time to sign up for classes. They quick to call you then. But or if you're on the academic probation, then they quick to call you. But I feel that what's the meaning behind it? I mean, what's the name? Counselor. So help me, guide me if I don't want to do this particular subject. Hey, son, hey, sweetheart, what do you really want to do? Not what mom and dad want you to do, not what society seem that is more predominantly aware or more famous at the moment. What do you want to be? Because you don't want a child getting into college, being in college, just taking classes, and really not interested in it. Then you get out, you don't even have a passion for it, right? So I feel that we need to put these counselors and uh, not put more awareness, but put more things on their plate to help us achieve what we want to do, not what our parents want us to do. And then also, you brought up the student loans should be kind of reduced for poverty stricken kids. And we both poverty stricken kids. But I want to say this as well. That's discrimination. Because what's going to happen when you go with these kids that parents make $80,000, $90,000, right? And then they're going to be, well, my daughter can't go to school for free, so you can't do one and not do the other. Because what's the Constitution based on? Equality.
Well, I disagree with that, bro. You can do it, and I'm gonna ask you a question. You can do it because think about it. When we went to elementary school, right? You went to elementary school. Then you have kids that had free lunch, right? And then you had kids that had to pay. So it's not no discrimination. It's your parents fortunately work more, make more, so you get more privileges. The people who parents did not work on certain benefits, on certain government incentives, they get free lunch. That's not discrimination. That's just how stuff has to work. It has to be public administration out here because if it was no public administration, everything would be out of the place. Now, let me ask you a question.
Yes, I disagree with that as well.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. When you talk about the academic council, I agree with you on that. But do you hold them to when you talk about accountability? Do you hold them to the utmost, highest standard? Do you blame them all the way, or do you blame them to a certain extent? Because a lot of academic counselors shouldn't be blamed because again, that's the hardest job to have. Gotta think about it. A lot of them they know like we know, right? Oh, I know when I applied for college, I had a academic advisor. I can come up and say I want to take English. She's going to get a commission off of me. Regardless, she don't care. All she want to try to do is get me in English. I'm gonna say, hey, I don't want to do that. I want to do healthcare. Well, no, we have an option in this because keep in mind, you didn't know this, did you? I had an aunt that worked there for. She was an academic advisor in a college, and she told me that before school starts, it's kind of like how car salesmen is. Before school starts, they go to them and they have a meeting with them and they ask them. They say, how many students can you sign up per year? And they get them a number. If they're not close to that number or reach that number, they lost their job. So, do you hold them to accountability or do you hold the school and the counselors to accountability? Because some counselors, they're just doing that to keep their job. They know, I know, and you know that can't nobody make it with an English degree, right? But they're just doing it with the commission because we see car salesmen all the time, right? They lose their job because they can't make the commission off and they can't sell. They know deep and down that somebody car note, somebody can't afford 400 some dollars car note, but they will sell it to you. Why? To keep their job, to keep their family fed because they done sold a personal car. So do you agree? Do you think that they should be held to a higher standard? Or do you think that the college should be blamed too?
I mean, it's a mixture of both, but at the same time, it boils down to integrity, right? So you might know if you don't meet a particular quota, you're going to be released from your duties. But at the same time, integrity come in. If you see a child, and it all goes back to your heart. If I see a child and I know that you're not interested in something, I'm gonna pull them aside one on one when they come in my office. What do you really want? Don't let the kids waste their life because that's really their life. As you stated, you're gonna have student loan debt, right? So don't go to school or be peer pressured by your parents and get debt for something that you don't want to do. So you have to still hold the guidance counselors and the academic counselors accountable, have integrity, have some sort of respect and dignity for yourself and for the child.
But how long? How long though? How long though? Because at the same time, if you do that, James, bro, if you do that, think about it. If you do that, and I'm with you on that, because you gotta have a good heart. Because I wanted somebody to have a good heart for me. But if you do that, you know you're not gonna be having a job. You probably won't have a job Monday morning if you do that on a Friday. Why? Because you are building off a commission instead of, and sometimes that's the game. You charge it to the game. It hurts out here. That's why I say we need to go after everybody. Everybody, hold them up. Everybody that's behind the desk that calls themselves corporate America inside the educational field, let's hold them to a higher standard. It's take a collective. Just like it take a village to raise a child, right? It take professors, it take teachers, it take academic counselors, it takes academic success center instructors, everybody. Everybody. Because this education, I'm glad you brought it up. Man, that whole system needs to be reformed. And I will try to do my utmost in my duty to try to get that done. If I will have more brothers like yourself, my brother, which is my brother, to step up and do something because these kids is our future, man. You know, they are future astronauts, engineers, um, our future doctors. You know, they are future attorneys if I get in trouble. I always remember one thing my mama told me when I was younger. She said, "Son, always find a field." She said, People always gonna want to get. People always gonna want something to eat. They always gonna get sick, and they always gonna get in trouble. So try to find something in that field. So we need more doctors. We need more lawyers. We need more business owners. So that's pretty much how. We wrapping up on time, but that's pretty much on how what I take
And just closing remarks for me, because you're right, we got to wrap it up. As far as me and you, we've been to college. We understand the experiences. We understand the shortcomings that can come about it. So I want to make sure it resonate with the audience. If you have went to college and you've been through the ringer with college, and you see a younger cousin or person that live in your neighborhood, and you can give them some game or you can give them some knowledge, pass it on to them. Don't withhold it, because that'll better their situation in their future. So if a child, quote unquote, went to high school, was a C+ student, and they're not really good educational wise, but they good with their hands, give that child a game to tell them, hey, how about you go and pick up a trade? Something that'll be more accessible and be better for you and better suited for you. So I feel that this is our duties, it's our responsibilities as the ones that went through the trenches, that went through everything that college put us through. Share the game with your younger people, because, like my brother said, they're our future.
You're right, and you see people actually getting trades, making more than people with degrees.
Correct.
I read in an article one time, funny. It said if you have college degrees, you can't. You might wind up in the unemployment line, but if you have a trade, you can feed your family. And I just said, "Wow!" I said, "Wow!" But I am Shaq.
I'm Jay Schumann, and we are Y Channel. See y'all later.
All right, we out.